All right, everyone, welcome to Diz Debate. This is a podcast made by Disney fans for Disney fans, and honestly, we just have a great time making it. We do armchair Imagineering episodes, we do battle episodes, we do deep dives, we do controversial topics, but today we are talking about D23, and we're just going to jump right in. But before we do, we're going to introduce all the fine people we have with us today, because we got quite a few. Dean, how are you doing, my friend? It is good to see you.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Survived a 6-day work week and had today off, so all good, thank you.
Good job. Well done, Dean. Well done. Sophie, it's good to have you back. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Very tired. Regretting the 3 a.m. wake up to watch the panel, to be honest now. It's hit me. I'm like, oh. But other than that, I'm good.
Fantastic. Hannah and Laszlo, it's nice to have you back, the Foolish Mortals. How are you?
We're good, thanks.
Also regretting that 3 a.m. wake up.
Yeah. Nice being back, though, and nice discussing it.
Well, we're excited to hear from you. Sarah, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm also tired because I also watched it live, so I regret that 3 a.m. But, you know, some things you just got to do, haven't you? So.
Yep, it's worth it. I feel like it was worth it. I didn't do it, but you guys seemed like it was worth it for you guys. So, Olivia, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Also extremely tired, as I did wake up for the panel. So yeah, I've had a lot of different naps, but still, I'm just gonna go to bed straight after this. I'm not gonna lie.
Excellent. Yeah, it's I felt bad for you guys because it was just so late for you. It's too bad, but it's okay. Jonathan, it's good to have you back. We haven't had you on in a little bit. I'm really glad to see you back.
Hey, thank you for having me back on. I'm not regretting doing both 3 a.m. nights.
Excellent. Glad to hear it was worth it for you. And Steven, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm good. I'm tired for a different reason. The panel was at 10 a.m. for me, but the night before I could not sleep because I was so excited to see everything. But yes, I'm doing good.
Fantastic. As always, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And listeners, we're so glad you're here. We hope you enjoy what you hear today. But yeah, we're just going to dive right in. We're skipping the news. We're skipping all that because today's all news. It's D23 news. Now, for our listeners, you're probably thinking this is going to be a long episode. And you're correct. There is a lot to go over. However, we're skipping all the other things for now, except the parks news and maybe cruise line news. We'll talk about some other things that we had another time. But before we dive into all that, we wanted to show you a video of predictions that we had made before D23. And then as we talk about them, we'll see what came true. So here's that video now.
So my two predictions for this year would be we're going to get an in-park hotel and I think we're going to get a lake show at Animal Kingdom because they need to do something to keep the people in the parks.
My prediction for D23 is that we're going to see some changes to Epcot. I hope, I would love to anyways, see a new pavilion added. I'd just have a Greek one and have loads of Hercules stuff. So yeah, that would be, that's my prediction. That's my hope. That's my fingers crossed.
My predictions for D23 is Shanghai Disney is going to have a second gate announced. Disneyland Paris is going to have a Discoveryland overhaul. Space Mountain is going to go back to Mission 2. There's going to be expansion where it's Star Wars Land. And they're going to announce something about like the 35th anniversary, maybe a new parade. I think for Adventure World, we're going to get a like season announcement for Lion King Land opening, a new land added. So I'm thinking Zootopia. For Walt Disney World, I'm thinking Space Mountain is going to have a re-theme, re-track, something of the sort. A Stitch attraction is going to come, and I think we're going to get a Haunted Mansion bar.
My predictions for D23 this weekend. We get updates for Villains Land and what the attractions will look like. Updates to how the Monsters Inc. ride is going to work. And wildly, a fifth park gets announced.
Welcome, Foolish Mortals!
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Laszlo.
And my D23 prediction is that we'll finally get an opening time frame of when Lion King is going to open up in Disneyland Paris.
And my prediction or biggest wish is a Star Wars themed land. We already know that we're never going to get a Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland Paris, but I think there's a lot of opportunity around Space Mountain and where Star Tours is to have some sort of a Star Wars themed land. So this is what we are hoping for.
Well, let's see what came true. Let's see who was right. Let's see what happened. Here we go. So we're just going to jump right in to the big, I think it's the biggest thing happening right now, Disney World. There is just so much happening. And I'm going to go right for the meat. I'm going for Villains Land. So we got a lot of confirmed things about Villains Land. One was the Maleficent coaster, which looks so good. Something that I want to preface Villains Land with, though, is that they gave us kind of a storyline for Villains Land, and I actually really like it. So the idea is that basically, right, somebody can explain this better than me, but basically there's a magic well, and it's been kind of corrupted, and it kind of leaked, so to speak. It's everywhere, and there's just this evil, like, tainted magic all over the land, and it's causing all these people to kind of hang out and spring up and all these things to happen, which is a very simplified way of saying that because there's a whole panel to explain that concept at D23, but here we are. So that's kind of the concept, and then we have the Maleficent coaster, and then we have the Magic Mirror Realm. Those are kind of the two big e-tickets. Well, one's a coaster and one's a dark ride, but those are the big rides we have confirmed for this. There's also other things that have been announced and confirmed, but I want to give it right to you guys. Let's talk about this. What are you looking forward to? What did I miss? What have you heard, etc.?
Well, I don't know if you can help us, but we are confused about the appearance of Cruella de Vil. Because that was one of the showstopper moments of the entire
Really
evening.
enjoyed it, but why?
Glenn Close, like you can never get enough of Glenn Close, but just why? Because it felt like they obviously announced the two attractions, and then Cruella comes and says like, "Well, I deserve my own attraction," and it's kind of like
I thought they were then gonna say there's a third attraction that's based off
Yeah.
of her, or
Yeah.
she had something to do with like the magic mirror one that I'm still not sure what it is.
Yeah, so is there gonna be a third attraction that is themed for Cruella, or is she going to be heavily featured on one of them, even though like there was no sign of it, or what was it all about? Or was it all about just the show element of like if it was just about the show element that we bring Glenn Close on there as Cruella, I'm down for that.
She looks good.
Yeah, and how she was walking in those shoes.
The shoes.
That was mad. Really enjoyed it, but we still don't understand what is going on there, and I don't think there was an answer. But like one of you might be a little bit more clear on that.
They did say at the start of that section that it's going to be based around the three villains, which was Cruella, Dr. Facilier, and the Evil Queen. But then they didn't really link them in. They kind of said,
Yeah.
this is what the land, they're the main three villains. And that's what they kind of said. And then they were like the ones that kind of have corrupt, they're like ruled in this land.
Yeah.
But then they're like, oh, wait, but the ride's Maleficent. I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, if you've got three main villains,
And
What-
Dr. Facilier isn't involved.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
it doesn't really add up to me, and that just felt a bit disappointed. And there was no Hades. That's a joke.
If there's an underground ride with the underworld, though,
Yeah.
you would expect Hades to be like at the forefront of it, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking. If, right, the dark ride, you go into the underworld and you've got the whole story, but then do kind of like what a lot of rides do anyway, in general, and have it leading into a restaurant in the underworld, that's Hades, and then like barbecue.
Kind of like Captain Jack's where you go past the restaurant.
Yes, I feel like
But
that's
it's Hades.
so cool where you see the boats and they're entering the underworld. Like, how insane would that be? D23, call us. Like, you know, we've got the ideas.
Something I noticed about the Magic Mirror Realm is a dark ride, and obviously there's not a lot known about it, but something I did read in that description was that the mirror brings you into his realm, and the key sentence was that he's going to bring other villains to life there. And so I think a lot of our friends that we're going to see that we're missing, like Hades, will probably pop up there. That'll probably be like a crowd pleaser where they're like, hey, here's all the villains we missed. Like, please don't be mad at us that Hades doesn't have a ride. But I agree with you that it's kind of hard to pinpoint, like, who's the focus and what's the focus of this land, which maybe is the point, right? it sort of seems like villains are kind of around and everyone's going to get an area or a ride or something. So I'm glad to hear that they focused on good ones, but I am interested to see how they implement everyone that they've talked about.
What I'm really curious about is what the ride system is gonna be. Because it looked like it was gonna be a boat, but there was some online chatter about saying that it would be like the Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure in Tokyo Disney Sea. So I'm just curious like what it's gonna look like at the end.
I think it's the same ride system as Avengers Defense, the one that's going to DCA.
Infinity Defense.
Yeah, I think they paid for two of the same ride systems, so I don't think it's going to be a water ride, unfortunately, because I would have much preferred a water ride. And if you zoom in, as a friend said to me, they do look like they're all wearing glasses, so I think it's going to be a 3D one.
Interesting. Another 3D attraction. I thought we'd seen the last of those.
I like a 3D attraction.
It doesn't work.
Oh, me too.
It doesn't
3D.
medically it doesn't work for me, but I like it.
Is it the glasses, Laszlo? Do you like having the extra glasses on?
Yeah, it's the souvenir value.
I know, Freak, I always shove those right in my backpack right as I'm leaving. They never make it back.
Criminal.
And the water.
I paid so much money to be there. I'll take those 10-cent glasses. Okay, back to D23 and not how much I steal. Okay, so I also noticed that they added in the concept that when you enter this land, it's supposed to be like straying into the dark forest, so to speak. Like you're off the path of good and you've strayed into this evil place, which we had a lot of really interesting ideas about how they were going to incorporate this land and how it's going to work. We still have a few theories about entrances and how they're going to work that. And I think we've all noticed they've left themselves room for expansion here too. So they didn't lock in like Cars Land. They put it on the outside, and so they could easily just boop, another ride or two.
I really liked how they had the models of the dark forest with Snow White, like these scary trees and stuff. I absolutely adore that. I think that's going to be really good to transition. Imagine if it was like behind Haunted Mansion and you've got those like going in. It'd be a really cool transition. And I think not saying what's going to be there is kind of adding to that mysterious element of the villains. So I think it's good that we don't know everything yet, as it's still going to be kind of like spooky, and we'll figure it out eventually. But I think that really works with the theme of the land.
Yeah, and did you notice how much they focused on the Villains Land book? Like the entire video started with the book and ended with the book. And what I was thinking, if they are going to do a forest, I don't know if you've seen it. I know, Stephen, you do. In Hong Kong, they've got the Enchanted Forest,
Yes,
where
do.
you got all the books of the different tales. You can read up the story, and there's a little mechanic kind of attraction to that. You wind it up, and then it's going to do something. Like, for example, from Rapunzel's tower, her hair goes down and tries to pull up Flynn Rider. I think they've done the book thing for a reason, so it's going to have some sort of kind of like significance that the Villains Land has a book. So I think that my money would be on it that is potentially, and if they are smart, they would do that. They would do something very similar, but in a villains kind of theming, and I think that would look absolutely fantastic.
I think the biggest announcement is the name. It was so the way they built it up, and it just went Villains Land. Honestly, that's the best name for it. What else are they going to call it? It's just the way they built it up.
Everyone's going to call it that regardless, right? Like, they can come up with some really nice, slick kind of name for it, and everyone like that generally is probably not been to Disney World for a while, probably like, oh look, that's Villains Land.
Yeah, they're just going to call it Villains Land. Fantasyland,
It's just what they're going to call it, yeah.
And I mean, people are already doing it with like Galaxy's Edge. People just call it Star Wars Land anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
So I feel
Now,
like it makes sense.
I don't know if you guys picked up, but they said about the coaster being really advanced for what they've done in the past. So I think it's going to hold a few tricks maybe we haven't seen in the Disney parks before. For example, Hagrid's drop or something. But I also like that a lot of it is inside. So are we actually going to finally see a dragon being brought to the parks in a coaster at long last. As Olivia said, we've got a few years until it's kind of coming around, so I think they'll probably drip feed information. But I'm really hyped. I think it's looking really promising.
It was the last D23 when the whole thing was announced, wasn't it? And there hasn't been too much happening ever since then.
Yeah, they're gonna get Piston Peak or whatever it's
Yeah.
called done first.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna see it for a while.
Which kind of brings me to my next point, which was Piston Peak. I think what happened with Piston Peak, so we got a lot of confirmation and detail, which I really liked about Piston Peak because we got that big scale model at D23. I haven't had time to like really zoom in on a picture of that and check it out or watch people look at that. But we did get the two attractions confirmed. I have to read them because there's so much information for this episode. So we got Miss Fritter's Daredevil spin along. So we got a spinner. I assume that'll be similar to Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, same kind of deal. But the big thing that I noticed with this one is there is supposed to be a humongous animatronic of Miss Fritter, which I think will be really cool and make that spinner really different. Like, I'd go on it just to see that. And of course, we got the confirmation for Ridge Run Rally, which is the big new attraction there. Now, this is a off-road based attraction, so it's kind of a rally through the wonders of the U.S. National Forest-esque thing. So I noticed that they included mud and trees, like a foresty nature, and then they have like a sand bit, and they also have an icy, snowy mountaintop bit, and there's all sorts of things involved. And then they also had like geysers involved, so they're really covering a lot of geography. But something that I think everyone liked and noticed, at least I did, was that they've emphasized that this attraction won't feel like being off-road. It will be off-road, right? So it's not going to be like Indiana Jones where the car's doing the work for you. The car will be reacting to the track they build, which will be off-road. So I like that concept. I like that idea. I'm really worried about the longevity of something like that because I'm an off-roader guy, and I know how hard it is on vehicles to go once or twice, let alone, thousands of times every day. But those are those. The last couple things I want to include here before we open it up are they've announced too that they're really focused on blending the lands with Frontierland and all these different areas, and they've said that a lot of the trees are going to do the work there. Like, there's going to be a nice natural border for the river, which I knew that was going to happen, but very smart. And then they also said that a lot of their theming is based off parkitecture, which is what U.S. Rangers use for U.S. national parks and other parks. So I think it's going to be, I'm actually really excited for this land. Like, I know Rivers of America is sad, but I'm stoked for this land. That's kind of one of my favorite aesthetics. So open it up, tear it apart, guys. What do you think?
Did you notice how they completely backtracked on the original plans? Because if you remember the original plans, it was supposed to be somewhat of a similar ride than in California, two cars racing, and they didn't just like slightly amended the plans; they completely reimagined the whole thing, and I think that is great, and I really like the idea on this off-road kind of vibe. It looks really nice.
And I did see a clip this morning of someone was pointing out how there's like little nods to Tom Sawyer's Island still, like some of the forts and the buildings. Some of the buildings look very similar, but just nice. I like an Easter egg.
I think it'll just be probably a bit more immersive as well, because I think if they did focus on that two-car racing factor, you'd be so like not looking around your areas and your surroundings that you'd be more focused on that maybe that's why they went away from that idea to kind of make it more of a let's like immerse everyone into this world of Piston Peak, and that you feel like you're on this road trip and you're seeing all these things for the first time. You're having a little bit of a rocky road area bit, you're having the ice area bit, you're going into different territories. I feel like that works better for that kind of user experience level of things as well.
And yeah, in Walt Disney World, we already got Test Track, which is very, very similar. What would be the point in doing two test tracks or having two test tracks just with a different kind of theming?
I agree.
Isn't it?
I think my concern is the off-road bit, because it showed all these bumps, and straight away I was like, oh my God, my stomach is going to not feel great after this. For those who've got motion sickness, so I'm I don't usually struggle, but occasionally I'll come off something and think, oh my God, that's not great. And I just can see that that's going to be one of those that people are probably going to be a bit green. They may need to put some tactical bins at the end of the ride, like on Guardians. So that was my main concern really, was just how bumpy it looked. And I hate that, you're on a ride and it like jolts you about too much and then you come off with like whiplash and it takes you the rest of the trip to recover. So I just hope it's not going to be too bad. We'll see, I suppose. I am excited for it, but just a few little things that made me a bit like, oh.
Yeah, I'm just worried about how this is going to work, because I know that Disney has these really ambitious goals, but we've seen these really innovative trackless or new ride vehicles come about, and they always have growing pains, and Disney figures that out pretty quick. And so sometimes like they do get worked out. Like Indiana Jones at Disneyland is a great example. That was super innovative, but it broke all the time. If they've got it a little ironed out now, it does better for longer, but it still breaks down a lot just because those ride vehicles go through so much. I'm worried about the same thing happening here, especially for the opening years, right? Because that'll just make those lines 3 times as long. Because it'll break down. It's already an 80-minute wait. Now it's 120 because who's getting out of that line? And then it'll just be long. But more than I'm worried, I do trust Disney and I do think they'll do a great job. But I am excited to see how they implement an off-road environment on a daily basis so that A, it doesn't make everyone sick or have spinal problems, but B, it's still thrilling because there's a huge gap there, and I'm interested to see how they bridge it.
Yeah, this has the potential to be like the Matterhorn, with how rough it could possibly get, which is not a very fun experience at all. So
I think it was interesting as well on the model. I know Dean pointed this out, but then I looked at the model myself and I could see there's a few like buildings on the outskirts that were still like grey, like they didn't have theming. So there's obviously the main ones in the middle, which are all like themed. And then there was one right by Haunted Mansion that was suspiciously grey. And it just kind of makes you think, what is that going to be? Is that going to be the Haunted Mansion bar we all want?
I think they confirmed it that it's going to be a toilet, isn't it?
Yeah, they all shut us down this morning.
Yeah,
Is it
they shut
though?
us down in this morning.
You're not getting a bar,
Oh.
you're getting some toilets.
Our dreams have been broken.
Forget it. Forget I said anything then.
Haunted Mansion doing toilets now.
Yeah, but let's hope it's going to be
Evidence.
Haunted Mansion themed bathrooms, because we were thinking like to put a Haunted Mansion parlor in there, they've got everything for it because it's now on the ships. They just need to reproduce everything in there, which it doesn't cost too much Imagineering, and just make a parlor. Because if you look at Beacon Barrel, how popular is that? And the parlors and these little bars, they're getting more and more popular.
They do it more like Western themed.
Yeah, like for example, when we are going in November, like we're going again with Hannah's parents, and they are not even bothered about going into like proper like dining places. They're just like, oh no, we just want to do lounges. It's getting more and more popular, so that would make sense, and that would be smaller of an investment, generate quite a lot of money. But unfortunately, we are. To be fair, like at some point we might be there, and we're gonna be like, oh, thank God that they've done toilets here, not a
Yeah,
parlor.
maybe this toilet's nowhere near.
Yeah,
Other than the Rapunzel one.
we shall see.
I can live without a Haunted Mansion bar if they give us a Dr. Facilier bar in Villains Land, or give us a cool Villains bar. Because I think the parks are going more towards bars than sit-down restaurants, because the restaurants are half full these days because everybody's using their money on skipping the lines. So I think bars are a surefire bet, because everybody wants alcohol pretty much, don't you? On like 45 minutes rest, right? And rather than like an hour and a half sit-down meal.
I think I don't know. I was really sad about the loss of this area before, but now that I'm seeing the models for this and seeing it all come to life, I think I'm actually really excited. Like, I'm sad about Rivers of America still. I'm glad it's still in other parks, and that makes me happy. But I'm looking at this model a little more closely, and there's so much to love about this ride, this Cars ride, Ridge Racers. There's indoor parts, and I mean, most of it's outside, so you get 2 experiences, one at night, one during the day. Like, there's just so much. And I just have a sense that Disney knows that they can't miss with the theming, either in Villains Land or this new Cars area, because it just has to be good. It just can't fall short, especially with other theme parks stepping up their game, and we watch, like we see how high the standards were for that Universal resort, that kids resort, and it just completely flopped because it sucked, and people were so disappointed. And so I think on this one, the eyes of the world are watching on these two lands in particular, because in the heart of Magic Kingdom, they've just got to be good. They just have to be. So I agree. I think more themed experiences are on the way, and I think this is going to be something mind-blowing. It better be, for how long we're waiting. So
the model really impressed me. Like, I was quite nervous about this because obviously I was thinking, how's Cars going to fit in with all the different lands that it's surrounding? But the model, how they've got so much foliage and everything, I think it's going to fit in really nicely. So I was quite impressed, and I'm really happy about it.
yeah, I agree. They've taken it seriously, and I feel like they understand the challenge of fitting something with a land that has to fit between Haunted Mansion and Country Bears and Big Thunder. Like it has to merge with all those, and I think they get it, and I think they're going to do it. So we'll see how they carry that out. Could just be a bunch of trees, but we'll see. The last Magic Kingdom thing that I wanted to bring up was Carousel of Progress. This one's short, but we did get a little reveal of the 1980s Halloween scene, some costuming, and then we got the voices. Jamie Lee Curtis and Bryan Cranston. Yes, he's going to do so good.
Yep.
And then we kind of just got a little more of their vision and what they have. We've talked about this before. Does anyone have anything else to add to Carousel of Progress from what they've seen?
Late spring 2027.
There's one thing that I'm a bit confused with in terms of Carousel of Progress, because at the beginning they said that we're gonna get a Walt animatronic in there, didn't we? Didn't they? And it doesn't seem like there's anything about it going on. Like they didn't show. There was not even the slightest reference that there might be a Walt animatronic in there. So I don't know what's going to happen. Are we gonna get it in Florida? Are we not gonna get it in Florida? It would be cool.
Hopefully we're still doing that. But I really like the look of the concept art they've done for the Halloween segment, especially. The costumes are amazing. I'm so glad Rover the dog is staying in it. So
Go Rover.
I loved how the whole panel themed around Carousel of Progress. That was really cool.
Yeah, he did a really good impression.
Yeah,
he was fantastic. I just loved it how he kept cracking up, like trying to not laugh in the middle of his whole speech there, Neil Patrick Harris. I think he's done a tremendous job there. Like it was so wildly entertaining. It was brilliant, and the announcements of the voice actors Bryan Cranston and Jamie Lee Curtis.
Perfect.
Oh, they'll be, and I love Jamie Lee Curtis anyway because obviously she's one quarter Hungarian like myself. So like I'm fully Hungarian, but she's a quarter Hungarian. So I'm always happy to see Jamie Lee Curtis getting in anywhere. So it's absolutely, that was a brilliant announcement. I'm very happy about that.
At some point, I liked the costuming for the 1980s bit, but they showed some of the costumes for, I think it was the first scene of the ride where, there's the cardigan, like the classic cardigan and pants look. And I think that looks great. I didn't like the dress that was on display there. I just had to voice that right here. I didn't love it. But who knows if it'll make it in the final thing, or if that was an original or what. But either way, I didn't love that. But everything else I've seen from that looks great. I love that they've kept Rover. That was 100% super important to me too. So
yeah,
I think they are also going to do great at that. I loved the new scene for Halloween just because it looked just like our Carousel of Progress. I was like, oh, it is going to be the same. It's going to be good. So now we're going to move on to two big ones. We're going to go over to Epcot. And there's one vague announcement and one awesome announcement. Olivia knows. So we'll get the first little one out of the way. They are updating Spaceship Earth. They're doing it. They're finally going to commit, and they're going to do it. Their new focus is not going to be communication, but it's going to be human connection. So that's kind of what they're driving at. That's about all we know, actually. They really haven't given us any more details about that. The big one is that Dreamfinder and Figment are finally going to be reunited, and they are going to be back in Epcot. I will let you guys just take that away because we are excited about that.
I never even saw the original version of the ride with the Dreamfinder, but I am excited. Even though I love the current version of the ride, he deserves a little upgrade. He deserves more love.
Yeah, and we just realised that Figment knew it all along. that it was going to be happening, because 2 years ago when we were there, we were doing the Figment meet and greet, and in the backdrop, there's an image of the the Dream Finder. There's a silhouette, and Figment took me there and pointed out to me at my beard that I look like him. And now we just realized that probably he was just trying to tell us what's going to happen, so he knew it all along.
Bit far-fetched.
But it is really, we're so happy about it. Like anything Figment that we are happy about, we just said it the other day that as well, that we think that they should bring Figment to every single park. There should be Figment everywhere, because we love him and we don't understand the hate for Figment sometimes that you can see. So that was one of the highlights of the event for us. Now, the thing is that there was nothing specific about it that is ever so slightly concerning, in a way that it just felt like towards the end of the show was like, we haven't given you too much. We have to throw something in that's going to be a crowd pleaser. Figment. And it felt a little bit like that to me, that was kind of just thrown in very last minute. But whatever the case is, that was a great announcement. So very happy about it.
I'm very happy.
I knew it
as
was
well
coming.
never got to experience Dreamfinder. A lot of my family loved Figment and that ride as the original, so I'm so excited to finally experience that.
I'm going to expose myself as a fake Epcot fan here and say I've never been on Figment.
How many times have you been, though?
What?
Sorry?
How many times have you been?
It's like 6 times.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
Very
no
good.
excuse.
I'm going to
There's
take you by the
no
hand and
excuse.
drag you
It's
on it.
always got no wait.
Wait.
Like, you can go in any time you want.
It's not like it's
No queue.
For me, it was just because like I never did it when I was a child. Like I was so hyper focused on kind of more like bigger rides and stuff like that I never really did do that. As a child, it was not something I like hyper focused on to want to do either. So when I kind of see it in Epcot, I'm like, well, I don't have any nostalgia to it. So that's why, sorry guys, like do not plaster Figment everywhere. That would probably be my worst nightmare. But it's just like I just don't have that nostalgia for it. Like I'd never bought any of the merch. Spyro's my dragon, sorry.
I don't have nostalgia for Figment either, because like I never experienced Walt Disney World when I was smaller. I just love Figment. So for me, I'm kind of like a new wave thing that we go there. The park's got a mascot, and for me, the hyperfixation there was we need to meet Figment, because Hannah was like, we don't need to necessarily meet Figment. I was like, yes, we do. We need to meet Figment. And for me, like, because I never experienced the previous ride, I like the current one as well. I think it's funny. I think it's entertaining. It stinks there, but at the scene where it's supposed to stink. I just think it's got such a like kind of vintage feel to it, vintage ride feel to it, which I really like. But I know that it's not for. I see Jackson's not a fan, which I also understand. There's no problem with it, but it's just for me like I never had this nostalgia. I just kind of started loving Figment, and it was the same for us. I think with Duffy and friends, we called them the Dufflets. Before we went to Hong Kong, we were absolutely not bothered with them, and when we got there, like half the suitcase was Duffy stuff, because we were just like, no, we love Duffy and friends. We want everything Duffy and friends. We want Duffy and friends everywhere.
My big question about the whole Journey to Imagination thing is who's gonna play Dreamfinder, because I think it should be Neil Patrick Harris. They should just do that. He just seems like he's like made to do that. Like he just fits it so well in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but to me he really fits.
Nah, I don't see it. I thought they were gonna
Really?
say he was gonna be
Thank
on
you. I don't see it either.
Because so he kept doing the impression. It's like they're still gonna announce him to like be the guy.
The reason I think he would work in that is do you remember on the latest season of Doctor Who,
No.
when he was the Celestial Toy Maker?
Yes.
I do.
And before that, the toy maker was an older guy, very like chill, but just like mean, and he just brought that new kind of energy to it. And I was like, okay, he can pull this off, and this is why I think that he would be actually quite good as the Wayfinder, looking at that performance that he's done on Doctor Who as a toy maker.
I'm only because I've never seen the original Dreamfinder. I don't know how he acts, how he talks. But it was just when like Neil came on the stage and just stood there like a melon, like whilst dressed like the Dreamfinder. He didn't move. He didn't seem excited. He just stood there holding Figment.
I don't. That's what makes me think that it was like, I knew that they were teasing it, but was it something last minute that just said it to him like, "Oh, throw this on," and then
Throw the
be like the
outfit on.
the Dreamfinder. I don't know why am I saying Wayfinder, the Dreamfinder, and he just felt a little bit kind of like out of place there. Okay, I'm the Dreamfinder now. What is he supposed to do? I'll smile.
I was just going to say 3 points about it. So they can say that they're kind of bringing him in. They could just bring him in like the pre-show video. It doesn't mean they're necessarily going to touch the ride. If they are going to touch the ride, it's not going to be straight away. We're going to have like a 3 or 4 year wait at least. The same with Spaceship Earth. Kind of that whole thing needs to be taken apart and put together because the ride system in it is hanging on for dear life. So I think with both of these, they've given us not much to go on because it's kind of going to be at the back of the list, possibly even after Villains Land, unfortunately. So I don't know overly if they know what they're doing with it all themselves yet. And even if they were to put it back to the original ride was like twice the size of what it is now because we lost half of it for the gift shop and things.
Right.
I mean, the original version was a banger of Journey into Imagination. But I don't know how they're going to do it. It'll be interesting to find out once they get around to it.
The key thing is that are we going to get a Dreamfinder animatronic? Because that would be cool. I think that's if they put the Dreamfinder back in, I think that's crucial. Like that needs to be done. You can't just put him on a pre-show. Like you need to do the animatronic then.
Then they'd have to gut the ride and.
But like Nigel Channing, they never had a figurine of him, did they? It was all done on video screens.
Yeah, what's going to happen with him?
Yeah. I'd miss him like being the creepy moon. By the way, Spaceship Earth, like the question for me is there. What's going to happen with the voiceover? What's going to happen with the voiceover? It needs to remain Judi Dench. We can't change Judi Dench.
No, he can't.
You don't just change Judi Dench.
That's one of them though, because this is the Carousel of Progress argument, right? Because some people grew up not having Judi Dench, right? There's been 3. It was Walter Cronkite, and then it was the voice of Scar.
Jeremy Irons.
Yep, Jeremy Irons, and then it was Judi Dench, right? So there's a lot, like I can see that. Now I grew up with Judi Dench, so like obviously that's my nostalgia. I'm for that too. I think she does a great job, and I hear her every day. Like some piece of that dialogue plays in my head. But I'm kind of with Dean on this one. I think these are changes that are going to take a while to materialize. I have a little bit more faith that they might prioritize Spaceship Earth because they've been telling us that for so long. I'm hoping that it's higher on their list. But I also feel like this was just them, like a lot of announcements they make at D23. I think this was Disney saying, hey, Disney Parks people, like, we hear you. Like, we know this needs to be done. We acknowledge that Spaceship Earth is feeling old. We acknowledge Figment and Dreamfinder need to be in. Like, we hear you and we're working on it. Now, like we've talked about before, not all of Disney's announcements materialize. So I'm really interested to see, especially in the context of that episode where we explored that, which of these actually do materialize. I saw a comment that sums up all my feelings about Spaceship Earth, and somebody just said at the bottom, be gentle with her, but I'm excited. And I was like, that's how I feel. Do be gentle with Spaceship Earth, please. We do love her, but we are excited. Like, it's going to be awesome. We know it needs an update. We're going to move on to Hollywood Studios and Monstropolis. Opening 2027. Big deal. And there's lots to see here. So I'm just going to kind of run through these really quick. So there's the new show in the Glob, where Muppet Vision was. Rip Muppet Vision. That's called Welcome to Monstropolis. And that's just going to be a movie about what the land's about and like how their new storyline works and where your part is in it. So I like that idea. Then there's the Monsters University Alumni Club, which looks like a gift shop, maybe an experience. They said there's going to be lots to see there. So I'm expecting maybe a meet and greet even. That could be what that is. I don't know. And then there's a pizza place, which is going to be really awesome. I assume where Pizza Rizzo was because it's already set up for it. Sad that it's a pizza place still because it'll just be like the same but different. But I'm excited for that. Harryhausen's, that's the big one. That's the big restaurant everyone's excited for. They said the menu for that is just going to be awesome. Like not just like sushi and seafood and stuff, but just something awesome for everyone, which I'm really excited about. And then of course the roller coaster, and then a few more things. They did expand the storyline for this ride too, where they're saying it's Human Day, which we knew, but now the idea is that instead of, now that the monsters do laughs instead of screams, that kind of opened a doorway of curiosity for the monsters, and now they kind of let humans mingle in their world, and we're going to kind of see like, oh, like we're meeting each other and we're more similar than we think we are. So I'm getting a lot of like unity and connection vibes, which I dig. I really do. So that's kind of it. Now we can kind of explore that. So go ahead and take it, guys.
I think this has the potential to be as detailed and as like immersive as Zootopia in Shanghai. Like just
Agreed.
the amount of world building that you can do in this space is just going to be so amazing, I think.
I'm really looking forward to it because I'm a big Monsters Inc. fan, and I just think if they bring this to life, like you said, as well as they can, we know they can, they've got the capability to do it, it will be really good. It's a bit disappointing that the ride's not opening with the main land though, so you're going to have a theatre show, you're going to have a couple of restaurants and a shop, which, to be honest, all I need in life is a restaurant and a gift shop. It's just there, go on them occasionally.
Also, to add, there will be a shop called the Scareporium, which will be a bigger shop. So keep going, Sophie. I just wanted to throw that in.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, that's where I'm going first. But it's just a bit of a shame they're not opening it all at once. So you're going to get people into this land. Everyone's going to be looking around like, oh, can we go on the ride? And then you'll be like, oh, no. So if you're just a casual Disney fan and you just go, and you're not like us, you're going to be like, oh, that ride, I can't go on that yet. So why is all this open? It just seems, I don't know if I like the phased opening, just thinking for other people who are going to be a bit like, oh, no, it's no ride. There's obviously reasons why they're doing it.
I think a whole thing with that is capacity, because obviously Hollywood Studios is probably one of the worst for capacity. Every single ride, whether e-ticket or not, the queues are massive. So I'm kind of glad that they're opening that up, even if the coaster isn't open, because they've got that big show. And the one thing I really, really liked about it was the new song has been made by Randy Newman. And I was just like so happy about that. The concept art looks amazing, and I'm just so glad we're going to have the area open up again. But yeah, it looks great. And the little animals that they've made, the models of those, I thought were really clever, because obviously we're going to see pigeons and squirrels around in the parks, but now we can kind of link them to the monsters. So if we see one of those about, it'll just be like, oh, that's just another variant of these monsters. And I thought the designs were really cool, and I'm really excited to see it all.
Did anybody look at that bulletin board that had all like the post-it notes on it? Like, did you actually like zoom in and read the post-it notes?
Not a chance to yet.
I don't know if it's just random theming for this little bulletin board, but there was like Tony's Grocery and Art Gallery, and then they crossed out the word art and put Arts Gallery. Wasn't that one of the monsters from Monsters University?
Yeah.
So I don't know if these are actual things in the land or if it's just fun stuff to put down on pictures. I don't know.
Wasn't it in the show as well? It was Monsters University characters, I feel like. I saw in the preview of the concept art that they had. It was the Monsters University characters. So I think there's probably like an overlap of things that are happening, whether they explain like how that is in the world, because obviously Monsters University is the prequel to Monsters Inc. And then if you've got the ride itself and some of the theming to do with like they're opening it up after Monsters Inc., then how is that characters gonna interact and stuff in that? So I think that's probably a point. But I am really excited for this land because I think just it is Pixar. Like, I think we love
it's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
And there'll be plenty of like facades and stuff. So like the grocery and the art gallery might just be a building that has nothing in it. It's just walls.
I'm quite stoked about the concept art for the show because to me it looks like they're using some elements of Muppet Vision. I
Yeah,
think
the theatre looks similar.
we're going to get some AAs in there as well. It's not just going to be a film.
Yeah, it reminded me of It's Tough to Be a Bug when it was like in its prime, like a lot of cool effects, a lot of neat features, very interactive show, like Muppets too. So I was excited to see that. Also, I wanted to add, I couldn't read my handwriting, but I deciphered it. It's Archie's Scare Pig Pizza, who's the mascot from Monsters University. So he's going to be like the theme of the pizza place. So interesting to see how they're interweaving those storylines together, like Sarah was talking about.
So it's not pizza made out of the pig, it's the pig owns the pizza place.
I assume, but who knows? Time will tell. Time will tell.
Sausage pizza.
I hope it's gonna be a little bit better pizza, at least than in Pizzerizzo.
I imagine it's just the same pizza.
Don't get me wrong, like I had nothing against the Pizzerizzo pizza either. I don't think it was as bad as everyone was making it out. It was absolutely edible, and it was nice. It was a nice little sit down. But I do hope that there's gonna have a bit of upping the game there with the pizzas.
It's not even like reheating the nachos, it's just serving you the same cold nachos.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the chef audio animatronic?
I'm excited for that, Big.
Yeah.
So good.
It looks like you don't get that level of theming in most of the restaurants, with the exception of lounges that they're opening now, because you can see like
Yeah.
in Beacon Barrel as well that they've got Rummy, they've got the parrot there singing like
Good.
"Yo, who a parrot's life for me." So an August Cantina. So I really like it when they started making the restaurants more immersive and put all these things in there, because it's just cool to see.
I'll be too busy watching it to eat.
Yeah.
It's going to be
It's how they're going to lure you, and you're not going to check the prices on the menu because you're hyper fixated on on the animatronic, and you're going to just order the expensive stuff, and then you see the bill in the end, and you're like, oh, should have paid more attention there instead.
it's going to be the same plot line, isn't it? Like on Monsters Inc., where it's like it's stupid to try and get like an actual like reservation there because it's going to be insane, the wait list. So it's going to be back to the actual film there, which I think will be quite.
I can
fun.
see the cosplays happening now, and people actually taking their girlfriends and stuff there, and I can see every version of that and all the reels coming from that at this very
It's
moment.
going to be so difficult though, because the monsters are all fuzzy and it's always 35 degrees there.
Oh, those poor little employees.
Yeah, I'm curious about cast member costumes, because like it's monsters, so how are they going to dress?
I'd imagine something yellow like the robots, something yellow and grey, something to resemble them.
It's probably going to end up looking like a Roosevelt or something that they'll wear.
They had announced that there's like a human monster relations department or something that somebody has, and I assume that's where cast members will be themed off of. It'll be like a sort of an official force to kind of help everyone integrate. So we're gonna keep going. Right on to Animal Kingdom. So there isn't a ton to unpack here, but there is a few good announcements. One of those feel-good Disney fans we hear you announcements was Expedition Everest. The Yeti returns. I think that will take some time as well, but I think that again was Disney saying like, we're cleaning up, we're finding all these loose ends that we've had from the 90s and stuff, and we're kind of tying them up. We're going to make it all pretty again. That was really one of their most ambitious projects, so I'm glad to see it come back to life, hopefully. And then we got more details on Tropical Americas. So there are Indiana Jones ride has a name, Indiana Jones and the Myth of the Jade Serpent. There's all sorts of art. My favorite little thing was on the model for the temple. It actually said no climbing, which I thought was hilarious already that they've had a sign on it. And then we also got some news on the Encanto ride. There's a really interesting storyline there. Antonio gets the gift of talking to animals, and we show up on his gift day, and so now we kind of can see him interact with animals, and his room's going to be a big rainforest. There's supposed to be like 50 species of animals represented, and stuff like that. And the attraction vehicles look really good. They look really cool. My assumption is that it's going to be a trackless, but I didn't see that confirmed or not. And then we also just got a little bit more updates on the carousel. 22 hand carved figures. We got to see them all. One of which was from what's that movie? I've just forgotten the name. Emperor's New Groove, which I was excited to see that finally represented a little bit. Yeah, lots to see there, lots to unpack. And then there's also just going to be a really big quick service cafe there, and it's going to be one of the largest on property, which I'm glad to hear about because it'll be nice to have a big dining feature there. So there's those. Does anyone have any comments about those? I know the Indiana Jones attraction's an easy picking for that.
Yeah, there's one thing that you didn't mention that for me that was the key thing. Harrison Ford.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
based on animatronic or
Yeah, I
something.
even wrote that down. I forgot to say it, but that's true. The Harrison Ford will actually be in Indiana Jones, which to many people's surprise is not the case in Disneyland. He is not in that ride at all. They could not secure the rights. So
I never
please
thought about
bring
that.
him. Yeah, please take him to Disneyland when you're done
And
in
I think
Disney
it's more
World.
him
Please put him
now.
in Indiana Jones.
It's
But
only
either
taken
way,
them
yep.
4 rides to do it. 4 versions of Indy to actually do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of voice.
Yeah, but it's cool. Like finally, they brought him, and then they showed. Like I really like how they showed the 3D scan of his body there that they are going to be using for the animatronic. So, like as technology advances, I think they're gonna be able to make more and more animatronic characters who actually look like, not just vaguely resemble the actor they are based off of, but actually make it look like. So I'm excited about that, and I'm excited about the serpent. There was a name released as well, the name of the serpent, I think, but I
What's the
don't
serpent?
remember them. The Jade Serpent, the
Oh,
main villain of the ride.
I think it was just Jade Serpent.
I think he's got a name because it's a god of something. I'm not entirely sure what the name was.
I
But
have it in
red.
the notes in my phone.
And that animatronic looks great.
It's huge. Did you see
Yeah.
the mechanic that went out today of it? It's absolutely ginormous.
Yep. Which is kind of like you would want it because they got rid of the dinosaur ride, which had like huge animatronics in there. The least they can do is to give us some huge animatronics back as well.
And the giant bats.
Yeah. So I think it's going to look absolutely fantastic. Like so far, like the detail on the outside, the outbuilding as well, the show facade, it looks really good. So I'm quite excited about that.
I'm excited for the carousel. I like how it's all different characters, so I can fight a random child for whatever character that I want. And my only issue was the Timon carving. I think he looked a bit odd. They kind of did something weird with his tail, and it looked strange. But everything else, great.
I think my most exciting point was the Encanto ride, because they showed one of the scenes there where your vehicle is literally climbing up the stairs. And then last week, or a few days ago, they released a pattern where they designed it so you just go along the standard floor, but they're making the effects as if you're going up. You're not actually moving anywhere. You're just going that way. I think it's going to be a really, really blockbuster ride.
There'll be a capybara in there, and I'm very happy about that because I love capybaras.
I'm glad that they said it's going to be like a family ride, because as a dark ride person, that is probably more like my thing. I love like a classic, like trackless dark ride. Doesn't have to be trackless, but anything that's like chill and like it's all more on like the story and like the aesthetics and the animatronics and the sets. That is kind of like my thing more than probably Indiana Jones will go on it, but I'll probably like be shitting myself through the whole thing. So like I'm just happy there's like a nice little calm ride that I can sit there. I can be like, oh, this is really great. So,
And no height restriction for the little people.
it's good as well.
Also, the ride vehicle looks so good. Like how it's made out of the different furniture from Casita. It looks amazing.
I think everyone's going to be fighting to get on the piano one, aren't they, really?
It's just whatever they assign you. There'll be like a separate, instead of row one, it's can I have the piano?
The piano.
Yeah.
The piano line.
I'm sure it'll do some effect too. I'm sure people. It's like getting the steering wheel on Indiana Jones. Like it doesn't do anything, but it's more fun to sit at the steering wheel just because it's the steering wheel. So hopefully it does do some effect. Like maybe like there's different sounds for different cars, but piano car's probably best one because that's just wild.
I would have hoped to see a little bit more about the facade as well, because like Casita is so beautiful, and we've been there's a parade float in Hong Kong in the Fantastic Parade, which is a Casita float, and then both of us
So
said that
cool.
that's the best float,
It
that
was like all the
parade float we've ever
ceiling
seen.
tiles, like the roof tiles, start
They're moving
dancing.
around,
I
they
want
start
them to do
dancing.
that
Yeah,
there, yeah.
yeah, and I hope it's going to be like that. I was hoping to see a little bit more of the facade, but there was not much about it. But the interior, if going by how the interior is going to be, I'm sure that they're going to pay attention to the outside as well. And I hope they're going to do the tiles, the dancing tiles. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they carry that out, but I'm sure it'll be done so well. I mean, especially being in the middle of Animal Kingdom, like it's just got to look so good. That park is just such a beautiful thing to look at, so they've got to make sure it's good.
Am I right in saying we don't have a date? So is that kind of them saying it's slipped back? That's why they're bringing Monsters Inc., Monsters Land earlier to next year, and maybe Tropical America's 28, maybe? I don't know.
I read somewhere that it's 2027 still, but it doesn't say when. So unless it's like end of 27, start of 28,
Confirmed for Indiana Jones 2027.
I think so. There was
Yeah,
definitely a 27 in there.
But yeah, everything just kind of merged into one, and then you had like one musical number after another, so I was very overstimulated halfway through the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I noticed
very
Disney
quiet.
was
They've hidden that information. They didn't want to talk
Didn't-
about that.
they like
Would you-
mumbled it and then they just went into a show. They're like, it's fine. It's
Like, anyway,
I've still got the animatronic song stuck in my head.
me too.
What did Zootopia well, the Zootopia ride was that December last year, so they could push it all the way to the end of next year, I guess, depending how quick they get it done.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, they were like, "Oh, what time is it opening?" Gloria Gaynor.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Random.
interesting things there. I'm also interested to see just like if it's a
Because of the
phased
disco
opening,
lights.
like if it is Indiana Jones first and then the carousel. I assume the easier things to open would be like the carousel and the food and then Indy later. Who knows? But I am interested to see. I think my eyes are on Indy for this one. I know Encanto's going to be great. I know the carousel's going to be beautiful. I'm just interested to see if I go on that Indy ride and I'm like, yep, just like California. Or I go on that Indy ride and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like, this is so different, especially since the track layouts are so similar to start with. So I'm interested to see if they change that, what they do with that. It's going to be good. But I am already in on the story. The Mayan, like, myth kind of deal, I really like that. I think they've dug into something really cool there. And I like the name. Like, it doesn't roll off the tongue, but I like it. It sounds very indie, so I dig that as well. And then I think that's it for Disney World. We finally just covered the park in Florida. To be fair, it was 4 parks, but luckily Disneyland in California just has a little bit. There's a few things. We'll run over them really quickly. For all my Tomorrowland people, it is time. We don't have a date, but they have confirmed they're working on a revamp of Tomorrowland. I have hope because of the tagline, yesterday's tomorrow, today. That really gives me confidence that they're going to redo Tomorrowland to be this kind of retro future. It's going to be this really pretty, awesome architecture. They said they're bringing new rides in, so goodbye Innoventions, probably goodbye Autopia. Sad, but probably I think they're really going to radically do Tomorrowland. And I am sad to see some of those rides probably go, but I'm excited for new Tomorrowland. Like, that is just awesome. We don't have a date for it, so it'll probably take 10 more years. But there you go. And then, yeah, that's everything in Disneyland, actually. I was kind of surprised that was the only announcement for Disneyland proper. And then as far as California Adventure goes, we got some confirmations. We do have Magic Happens Parade happening at Disneyland. That's coming back this summer 27, so that's exciting for everyone who likes that. And then World of Color, I like that. Original World of Color is returning to DCA. Let's go. That's dope. Last one is, besides the Coco ride that's coming in, we got some more details on that. Just a little bit more of the storyline. It's supposed to happen a year after the first movie, and then there's supposed to be some lead-ins for the second movie into that ride. I'm excited. That's going to be beautiful. And then the last thing was we just got a little more details on the Avengers expansion for Infinity Defense. You are supposed to kind of team up and beat King Thanos. There's lots of interesting things there. And then Stark Flight Lab, not more information, just like more detailed Q images and stuff, not super groundbreaking. So, and then of course we did get Avatar confirmed. At least they just said we still care and we're still going to try that. I know that they did a big panel about it, but I don't think we got announcements for Avatar. I know Avengers is 2028. I know there's some other things in 27, but not a lot of dates in California. So anyone have anything about that?
I feel like the Coco ride is just going to be so good. Like, I feel like it's going to be one of those that's going to make me cry as well. Like, you're just going to see some really just like emotive scenes, I think, in that ride. And I just think it's just going to be so beautiful as well to see that world just kind of come to life. So, you can tell by my dress, Coco. Yeah, definitely excited for that one.
I'm happy they're building a Coco ride and not taking over Grand Fiesta Tour like everybody wants for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about the space because that is not a very big space they're putting it in. And I just don't know whether there's going to be much depth to that ride, whether you're going to be kind of 5 feet away from the audio animatronics, or whether there's going to be a bit of depth to the scene.
My guess was it could be two floors, like 2 stories. That's the only way I could see them potentially, like how they do it with Frozen Ever After and stuff like that. I think that might be how they could do it, but I do agree that space is tiny. Like, it's literally just shoved at the back of the park.
I wonder if it will just be a very short ride, like Rapunzel in Disney Sea. That's just
Or
like
Avatar.
a minute or whatever it is. And maybe it would just be that type of thing, like you get a few show scenes and then that's it. Which will be a shame because we need more than that from Coco because there's so much potential. But I won't be surprised if they just really condense it and they're like, here's a few little things, be happy. That's probably, if they haven't got the space, that's probably what they'll do, which is unfortunate, really.
Yeah, I think this ride does have a potential to bring a lot more depth to DCA because DCA is a great park, but I feel like a lot of that park still feels a little flimsy just because it's in an identity crisis still. And I'm worried too that if they do put that boat ride at the edge of Pixar Pier and then make it so short, it will feel kind of cheap, which I don't want it to. But I trust them and I think it will be good, but I do have concerns about the space because if it was right and it was done well and we do have a Pirates-esque, really detailed, really immersive storytelling environment, then that would bring so much, A, traffic to that corner of the park because that's awesome. And B, it would just bring a lot more substance to that corner of the park because there's a lot of those carnival and pier rides kind of still over there. And I'd really like to see something awesome, especially that boat ride. So hopefully they get that right. I'm really interested to see how Stark Flight Lab ends up being because I'm expecting something like Monster. Here's what I should say. I see the capability of that technology through Monsters Unchained in Epic Universe, where you have the big swingy arm attraction and it moves around, and that's just such a great ride. And I'm worried that Stark Flight Lab is going to feel cheaper and smaller than that. And it probably is cheaper and smaller than that, but it shouldn't feel that way because it's so much newer and so much more hyped. So I'd really like to see that take off and do well, but that's my concern.
For me, I'm excited about the actors that they actually managed to bring back the Avengers cast, including Robert Downey Jr., because I really hate it when they are replacing the actors. And of course, there's loads of voice actors who can do very similar voices, but you just know that it's not that. For example, my always pet peeve is Rocket. That Rocket is just never from Guardians of the Galaxy. He's just never Bradley Cooper, with the exception of DCA, actually.
I can't tell.
Everywhere else it's someone else, and I'm just like, no, that's not Rocket.
I can always tell that one, especially Star-Lord too. When they do fake Star-Lord, I'm like, no, it's just stop. That doesn't. Yeah. It's just some dude in a jacket. Stop it.
That's my one gripe with the Iron Man experience in Hong Kong. It's that you can obviously tell that it's not Robert Downey Jr. doing the voice.
But it's so strange there, because in some of the scenes he sounds exactly like Robert Downey Jr., and then in another scene you're like, it's not Robert Downey Jr., and then you just don't know. And the thing is, if you Google it, there is no information. There's conflicting information everywhere on the internet. But you kind of like, did he record a part of it, and someone else recorded the other part? Because it sometimes comes across like that. But I just don't know. But I'm just happy that they brought him back specifically for California, because I think he's charismatic enough, and it's an important character, not just to be replaced by by a voice actor.
Also, sorry, I want to throw this in. Speaking of cramming things into DCA, I'm worried about Avatar. I'm going to throw that in right now. I am stressed about that. I know they're pushing that edge of the park with that new ticket and transportation thing. They're kind of redoing that, and they're making a little bit more space in that corner. But I've been telling myself to trust Disney on this. I don't trust them on that one. This one thing.
They've not locked down on the location, though. I think it could still be part of Disney Forward. I
Good.
have a hope that it might not actually be in DCA. But
that would be fantastic. I don't think it should go there. I'm shocked Grizzly has not been roped into anything yet in this. Like, it's a water ride. It's got mountains. Here's my thing. I don't want it to be. It's my favorite place in the whole world. But I'm shocked that it has not been like, oh, future home of insert thing here. Like, I'm shocked that it has not been roped into anything. So
I think that's mostly because, like, they would have to get rid of Soren to do that. And I don't think they want to get rid of Soren. I think Soren is still the big draw that it is. So I think that's partially why they haven't put it there. But that's just my guess.
Yeah, I agree with that. I can do a whole episode about this, so I'll wait to talk about this later, because Grizzly, I mean, obviously, it's my favorite place ever. But I agree. I think Soren's the e-ticket that's keeping that park open, that part of the park, and I like keeping it there. But I am interested to see how the Avengers expansion impacts that land, because right now there's like the 2 e-tickets and then some places to eat and some meet and greets, and I'm interested to see how that really helps that land draw people in more. I'm also hoping the theming is just a little bit more. I just want to see a little bit better from Avengers Campus, because right now it just feels like a parking garage to me, and I'd like it to be better than that. And we've talked about that before, and to some people it feels great, and to some people it doesn't. I'm one of the people that it doesn't. So if you love it, dope. I'm looking for a little more.
I've got a Tomorrowland comment. Because I know there was a people mover. Could they bring it back? It'd be nice if they did. Probably not. It's probably not in their future plans. But I think
that's coming out. I think that track is going to be gone. I think they should add a people mover, but that track is so worn down and it's falling apart. If they do bring it back, they will have to bring back a new track with it, which they should, and I'd like to see that. But they can't just be like, boop, people mover, because some of that track's even been torn out. Like, it needs so much work. But there should be a people mover. I agree, Sophie. If there's not in a new Tomorrowland, Disney, there should be a people mover. And if that's not part of your vision, take it back, redraw it. I demand of you. I'll still come to the park until then, though.
Do you think they would get a new Space Mountain as they're doing Tomorrowland, because they only retracked it 10 years ago or so, if that?
I don't think so. I think that's one of the strong ones in Tomorrowland. I think I'm not an expert. Obviously, we don't have a lot of information on this. This is what I think, as Disneyland does my home park. I think Star Tours is maybe on the chopping block here. I know Toy Story isn't, because they just redid it. I think Autopia is on the chopping block because they have to go electric soon anyway. I'm sad about that. Innoventions, tear it out. Please take it. I don't care. I don't want it anymore. You can have it. Make it Carousel Progress or something else. I don't care. I think Submarines is on the chopping block too. Really, that whole top, like the rightmost section of that park, I think is really ready to be redone. I'm sad to see Subs and Autopia go. They bring a lot of energy to that part of the park, and I like it. But If I'm being realistic, that's probably true. I personally feel Space Mountain there. I know it's a little dated, but it's still pretty smooth, and I think it's a pretty great ride still. I think it's pretty safe. But who knows? Maybe it's a whole knockdown. Maybe it's everything but the Observatron for some reason's going. I have no idea, you know? So we'll just have to see. Time will tell. I think those rides are not safe. I think Space Mountain is safe though.
We'll revisit this in 10 years then, yeah?
Yeah, when I'm on Space Mountain Earthrise California Edition, I'll be like, I was wrong. The flying cars in Autopia 4 are awesome, you know. Okay, moving on. We're on to shorter ones now, so that's pretty cool. Not smaller announcements, but less detailed ones. Over in Tokyo, Space Mountain Earthrise. That's a big one. I know Dean's pretty passionate about this. I'd like to hear what he has to say about this, but I know that everyone's very excited for this. So I'm just going to give it right to you guys. Let's see what does everyone have to say.
I think it looks really cool. Like, obviously, when me and Dean were there, we could see it being built, and even then, it looks futuristic. Like, it's what Tomorrowland should be now. Like, it ticks all the future the boxes for being Tomorrowland. And I think the preview they've shown of like that plaza and that whole area is so good and looks so well done. It is like proper, like what you want Tomorrowland to be. I am worried it won't fit in with the rest of their current Tomorrowland, because it's all kind of currently, because of all the walls, like Star Tours is over here, then you've got loads of walls, then you've got Baymax, and I can't remember what else is open. I think it's just Baymax and Star Tours at the moment.
Wreck-It Ralph, Monsters Inc.
Oh, but Monsters Inc. is by Star Tours, actually, isn't it? It just feels very disjointed. I know it's because they're doing a lot of work. I just hope they kind of update the rest of the land to go with it, because you can't just have Space Mountain being all like, whoo, and then the rest is just like, oh, we tried. This has been here for years. So it's been interesting to see what else they do with that area, but I'm very excited for the new Space Mountain.
I'm very pleased that they've not pigeonholed an IP into it. They've left it like classic ride. It just tells its own story. This bit disappointing we didn't get the spinning cars. It's been kind of talked about for a while. So I really thought that was going to be a shoe-in. Obviously not. But I think they've got some tricks up their sleeves. From what we're hearing, there's still some special effects in there which other parks don't have. So I think it's going to be special.
I was just gonna say the name is also great. Space Mountain Earthrise just sounds so cool.
Yeah.
Solid. I was looking at the queue and the interior, just what we got, like everyone else saw. I kind of got Meow Wolf vibes from it. Lots of like LED, lots of color, lots of interesting things. I was excited for that. I think it's going to be a really good queue, which Space Mountains have always not struggled with, but it's been a hit or miss thing with a Space Mountain. And so, like, Star Tunnel's a great example, totally timeless, awesome thing in Florida, but then there's the ball pit right before it. So, like, interesting mix. Same with Disneyland's. Disneyland's has like a little of a claustrophobic feel, but then there's the spaceport that you wait in, and that's awesome. So I'm really interested to see how this queue turns out, especially. But I think I speak for all of us when I say it looks great, and the adherence to the original Space Mountain concept art is just, it's ticking all my boxes of happiness. It's making me very happy. It's tempting me to go to Tokyo. While we're in Tomorrowland, let's just bring up the fact that they did announce the Wreck-It Ralph ride, which should be awesome. I'm excited to see Wreck-It Ralph get a ride. I'm glad that he's getting one. I'm glad it's going to be good. I don't know. I have pretty solid expectations for that.
Yeah, the animatronic looks great, but I don't know what it's going to do in Tomorrowland.
There is that, isn't there? Like, yeah. I'm quite looking forward to it, to be honest. But I think the only way they can link it is, the whole, like, going into the internet, the pixels.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what they're going to do. That's the angle they're going to come from. Like, this is technology. But it is, yeah, I don't know if it's...
Like, the ride's going to be amazing. It's just a bit random.
Yeah. It is a bit...
I have one that I'm very, very excited for personally. Over in Paris, Space Mountain. It is getting back to its roots. I am so excited. Anyone who knows me and has watched our podcast knows that I just adore that version of Space Mountain. It's so good, and they've just not been doing it justice. I know Hyperspace Mountain's fun, but it's over. Get it out of here. I'm ready for this Space Mountain to come back. I'm ready for it to be all original and awesome. And then there's just a little more information about the Lion King attraction. So not much more in Paris, but that's a solid announcement. The Lion King attraction does look good. It does look. Does anyone know if it's long or short? It looks short to me, but I don't know. I don't know if we know how long it is. I've noticed they have that practice track over to the side, and that's obviously tiny. But then they have in the concept art, it looks shockingly similar to that track, and so I was just wondering if it's the same or similar. No, I'm getting no's.
I'm excited about that part of it, the final confrontation between Simba and Scar, because that looks really good on the concept art.
Mhm.
That looks like on one side there's Scar, the other side there's Simba, and they're large, like huge animatronics.
They look
And then you go in
ginormous.
between. That looks fantastic.
I think what we don't know is if that's going to be the final drop scene or not, because there's 3 drops, isn't there, on the ride? So I've just got this gut feeling that they're going to do like what they did with Tiana's and kind of make it like, that it'll be like kind of a happy party scene, maybe Circle of Life playing, and then you drop. But wouldn't it be so good though to just like with
Scar
big
pushing you off a cliff.
hair and
Yeah.
but yeah, no. I think I'm excited to see. I feel like getting more concept art is what we were going to get anyway.
Yeah.
Generally, I felt like it was going to be ambitious to ever get a date out of them for it. But in terms of that,
They're doing good progress though.
sorry.
They're doing good progress though.
Yeah. Oh no, because like they didn't start building Lion King until like it was literally, I think it was April when like the test track went up and it was like skeleton of the test track, and then there was aerial shots by a news page that was done, like of drone shots of like seeing what the test track part area looks like, and that's massive now. And then they've got like the actual bit where they're building the expansion as well, and that's coming along to say that it's not even been a year yet in construction. It means like it is moving very fast. And I think that's why a lot of people seem to just be predicting summer 2028 for it, because it seems quite fitting to kind of, well, you'd have to have it to be going from spring or summer, wouldn't you, in Paris for that ride to kind of work at that point. So yeah, really excited about that one.
Yep. And of course, like the Space Mountain announcement, I think I was just saying it, Hannah, after the event, that I think that was the only surprise announcement. That was the only like kind of solid thing that came out, I think, for me from the panel. That was coming from the panel itself, because we were kind of like expecting that at some point it's going to be happening. I don't think anyone would have put money on it that it's going to be happening now. We got quite a hard date on that as well, because they said end of spring 2027, Hyperspace Mountain is shutting down. So they're going to be starting doing that, which means it's a massive part of Discoveryland there in Disneyland Paris. So they're going to have to make haste on that, because that is a lot of capacity. And Space Mountain has been shut down recently and they've already started redoing the lights outside. They've redone the roof
They did the
area.
exterior recently.
They've done the exterior
I'm just
recently.
hoping they change the ride vehicle. You girls will know, rips your hair out. They need to change those harnesses somehow, because I'm going to be bald.
No,
But it's great to see. Like the thing is, I don't mind the hyperspace overlay on the interior. I quite enjoyed the music, and I quite enjoyed the projections in there. But either go all in and make a complete Star Wars ride, or go back to the original.
They
Yeah.
pop some
And
posters and
going back to
posters
the
out.
original is the right decision, I think, to go with there,
For
because
sure.
yeah.
I agree.
I
I
just-
agree. I agree.
I think for that land as well, like if you look, like everything is still just themed around it, so it just makes complete sense to bring it back. And I think they've just been teasing us for so long on this, and
yeah,
I'm just so glad that like people that went and visited the park, like opening as well will kind of remember that original ride and be able to kind of ride that again. I feel like that's a wonderful feeling for people that have already experienced it. And from my point of view, I never got to do that. So for me, I've always been a real fan of the original and seen all the the actual ride and how it worked originally with a lot the overlays in there. So I'm really excited to kind of see that and experience that for the first time. And yeah, I think for me personally, like Hyperspace Mountain Star Wars was okay, but it just wasn't my Star Wars ride. Like it wasn't what I dreamt of for a Star Wars ride for Paris. So I think I'm excited because I think it also confirms probably a little bit more leaning towards that Star Wars is moving out of that area, maybe possibly at that point. But yeah,
I think they could still put it behind Space Mountain because you go into
Yep.
Discoveryland and you see, I think it's called Orbitron, Space Mountain, and you see like the big blink balloon thing from Hyperion. All the Star Wars stuff, Star Tours, all you could just put it behind because then you have to walk into the land, and then back there could be like a whole Star Wars area.
And it could be a logical kind of transition, like from Tomorrowland going into Star Wars area. I still
I think it's a possibility to have both.
yeah, I think it could be done, but they were very, very quiet. There was nothing Star Wars coming out the entire D23 when it comes to parks and attractions. But Jonathan was quite, he might be right about that, what he said yesterday, that they might be saving that for Celebration next year.
For when Starfighter comes out, because they know it's going to be a huge hit. So maybe whatever they're going to redesign that.
Will it?
For me, it's the 50th anniversary next year. I was expecting something. I know we're going kind of off topic, but I would have. They needed to announce something Star Wars for me. You can't just wait until April next year and be like, "Oh, we're doing this to Galaxy's Edge. We're doing that to Galaxy's Edge." The lack of Star Wars has been quite. I was like, I'm going to acknowledge that it's 50 next year. Like that's big. Like I was expecting something, like maybe like an event at the parks or something to acknowledge such a big milestone, but hasn't seemed to do anything announced. So
yeah, I agree with that absolutely, because we got quite a lot, to be fair, on the films and the series part, like especially the TV series like Ahsoka. We quite got a lot, but we've got very little about Starfighter. All we know about Starfighter at the moment is that it is Star Wars and Ryan Gosling is playing Ryan Gosling as per standard. And that's all we know about the series. And I know that a lot of people are hyped about it. And I spoke with people who were on the pre-production team, like when we were at Echo Base, Barry. But I'm just not excited about it. And they haven't made me excited about it with the teaser that they dropped there on D23 either. So I don't know. But that was the same, off topic again, Star Trek 60 this year, massive celebrations, but there wasn't really celebrations of it. There's nothing spectacular happening. It's just whatever happened this year in terms of the Star Trek world is what happens every single year. They just put a logo to it. And I'm worried that they're gonna do the exact same thing with Star Wars, and that's not gonna be nice.
I hate that if that happens. I mean, I'll be at Celebration, so I'll let you all know what happens as it happens, but I'm very nervous. I'm hoping we get something good out of it. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm very off topic.
more than a pin and a sweatshirt, right? Let's have a little more than that. Like I want some special colors. Yeah, well, I want more than that. Not just I want those things, but I also want. Let's get a pin set and let's get some custom colors and stuff for the lightsabers and whatnot.
Can I just say how cool were those two AAs they set up there with the Grogu behind the bar?
Yeah, that was rad.
With if they can get those in the parks, I don't know if that's what they're planning to.
Yep.
Do that.
There was one thing that wasn't mentioned within the D23 panel that was like a big bit of news for Disneyland Paris, and it's that we're going to be getting a new daily parade in 2028. Yes. So it says it's going to be led by Mickey and Friends. We're going to see the Genie and Jasmine, Tiana, Rapunzel, and Miguel. These were just some of the characters that they've announced is going to be in it. The floats were ginormous. It looked like the old floats that used to be for Disneyland Paris. It looks amazing. What I found interesting was with it being a 2028 date, obviously next year is the 35th anniversary. So that says to me, really, we're going to have a new parade for the 35th, and then in 2028 we're going to get this other parade. So I'm hoping we're going to get some news for 35th, but that kind of confirms it to me that we'll be getting something. Maybe the return of Dream and Shine Brighter if they can't think of a new parade. But we'll see. That was just the other thing for Disneyland Paris that was in there. That unfortunately was just kind of left out of the panel and then announced on Instagram.
There was something for Tokyo as well, wasn't it? That they just completely ignored in the panel, and then they announced it on Instagram.
what was it?
Later.
Saw Hong Kong something about Toy Story, like a Pixar.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, there you
There's
are.
a
Right.
Pixar experience, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I
Again,
think
just announced on Instagram.
That's
think
so
a lot
weird.
of
Like,
over, wasn't it?
Wait, they could have slipped in.
Yeah. And technical difficulties.
oh, sure. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
But speaking of Hong Kong, we did just get a little more of a look at what their Avengers area is going to look like with their new drop tower. It looks pretty fun. I'm interested to see how that drop tower isn't Tower of Terror. I'm expecting the same. I mean, I know it's not going to be, but it's an interesting thing that I would have never thought that Disney was going to make a new drop tower kind of thing, but here we are. So I'm expecting it to kind of be more like Rise, where maybe there's some trackless movement in there, and then you lock in, and then it's a drop ride, something like that, maybe. But either way, it'll be fun because it's just going to be a really interesting attraction. Maybe not for Sophie, it won't be fun, but it'll be fun for all of us. But yeah, I'm excited to see that land grow. I like it when Disney owns it. So I'm not a huge Avengers or Marvel guy, but I am excited to see that land grow. And like we were talking about in Paris, it was kind of, oh, is it Star Wars? Is it not? And I'm glad to see them own it and say, nope, it's not Star Wars. It's Paris. This is the Discovery Land. We're owning that. So I'm glad to see Disney kind of tying up all these little questions that we had and saying, okay, like here's all these weird things that we had around the parks that haven't been answered. Now they have. Go about your day.
Really random. They're going to do like a Tower of Terror version where the doors don't open. So you're not going to get that view. You're going to be fully enclosed for the effects and things. I think they're kind of missing the trick.
Hong Kong gets really pretty, the view.
Yeah, and it's in all the parks. It's awesome to see across the whole thing. It's fun in California too.
It would have been nice in Hong Kong.
It's all Avengers.
It would have been nice in Hong Kong too because of all the mountains in the background of that park. It would have been nice to see all of that. Yeah.
I'm nonetheless very excited about it because like the artwork that looks so good, and I said it so many times before, like that I really like it that in Hong Kong they embrace it, that our Tomorrowland is basically Avengers Campus, and they just embraced it, and they're like that's the path we are taking. That's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna make it as good as possible. And then everything that is there is absolutely phenomenal. I love the Nano Battle ride. I think that's brilliant. It's finally one that I can actually win on. I love the Iron Man meet and greet. It's the only place in the world when you can do that, even though we discussed before that the Iron Man costume is potentially not the best Iron Man costume that you can see in the world. Yeah, especially if you go to a Comic-Con when you've got all these people, the cosplayers, and they've got like 90% of the times better costumes than what Disney can come up with when it comes to Marvel. But still, that is such a good experience. I really like the Star Tours version that they have as well, which is that's themed after Iron Man, even though it's only one scene. And Sophie, I would not recommend you because that shakes the absolute everything out of you. That is violent. But I love it that it's embraced. I love that they go with the Avengers futuristic blue colors, blue and silver kind of metallic aesthetic. I think it's beautiful, and the show building of the drop ride that looks absolutely fantastic. I think so. The moment it opens, we're going to Hong Kong back because I need to see that.
But that drop tower Spider-Man theme, I can imagine it with the webs.
Yeah,
he's webbing you up.
It's a perfect for projection mapping on, isn't it? They could do their own like night show there.
Yeah, as well. And what it is, even in Disneyland Paris, the Avengers nighttime show was that they've done on Tower of Terror. That was one of the best nighttime shows that I've ever seen, because that was just as perfect as it was. So I hope that something is going to come back, because they've got the drones, they've got fireworks available, they've got everything available to do it. So it would be, as you said, perfect for it. So I'm very, very excited about that ride. And I think it's going to be somewhat similar than what they've done, but Joe Rody come up with for DCA for Mission Breakout, that it's not dropping and pulling you up, but there's a kind of like levitation part effect to it, that it's not stopping completely, because you want to they want you to feel like you're weightless. And if they do that there, especially if it's going to be web based or Spider-Man based in terms of the drop, I think they've got the right idea there to go with that. So I think it's got huge potential. I'm very excited about that. And you never know, at the moment it seems like they don't open the window, but
They might do.
they might do.
They always
Yeah.
change plans.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering
You just have
about
to talk
it,
about it enough.
yeah. What I'm wondering about it is it looked like from the concept art that there was stuff going on both above and below you. So I'm just curious as to like, is it gonna be a screen above the elevator thing that you can look up, and then there's Spider-Man doing like that web thing, and if you look
That would be
down
cool.
is like Thor coming up with this hammer. Like it just looked like there was gonna be something on both the upper part and the lower part of the elevator. So yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting concept. Like I said, I was just surprised to see Drop Towers coming back, and I was interested that that one wasn't Tower of Terror. It's so fascinating. But you know, Tower of Terror will always be best drop ride.
What about Shanghai?
Were they getting?
Just gave us more information on the Spider-Man coaster, and it's going to be centered around the Spider Box.
Those
I
don't
did a bit
really
of
go on
research
DCA.
on Shanghai, and apparently they're getting 2 new hotels and soaring expanding the capacity. So if that doesn't scream second park coming, don't know what does.
That was my biggest like I thought they were gonna announce it in June when the 10th anniversary happened, and then they didn't, and I was like, oh okay, so for sure it's gonna get announced at D23, and then nothing happened. So what I think now is there's gonna be a D23 in Asia
There is.
next year. Potentially that's where they could announce it. But that park is coming eventually. It has to be at this point. Like concept art leaked, like it has to be coming.
Yeah, I think generally, by the sounds of it, I think there was a lot of like concept arts and stuff that was talked about with Asia, but I think they are generally waiting, I think probably just to do a lot of big stuff with D23 Asia. And I think it would just be incredible as well to see, because I think we are screaming to have like different D23s, because I think if anything, like it's just took us like an hour and a half to kind of get through a lot of the parks. So I think it is time now. We are expanding like crazy in a lot of these parks. If there's going to be more parks added to parks, then yeah, I think we are in that era, I think, of D23 expanding in terms of an expo, and I'm here for it.
What I really liked with the new Spider-Man roller coaster is that they've got 20 murals by local artists, and that was just so cool to see that they've got local artists involved in that, and they look incredible, by the way. The coaster looks really cool as well. They're showing a bit of the like videos of, was it the launch? I'm trying to remember now. Everything's blurring into one, but what I saw of that looks incredible, and I'm really excited to see.
It's pretty imposing as well, because you can see it across Wishing Star Lake from like the hotel side. It's huge.
Yeah, walking up from like when you enter Zootopia, like it's a massive coaster, like it's ginormous.
I've noticed a lot of these announcements have been like Marvel, and I think that makes it more shocking that we didn't get anything Star Wars.
And why no Star Wars? Like there was so many of our predictions were based around what happens in Star Wars, and that was kind of my problem with the entire panel, Horizon panel. It was a fantastic show. It was so hyped up that everyone, it's gonna be 3 a.m. Watch it live, and that was a fantastic show. But there was so little. I think there was so little substance to what we got in terms of announcements. I would think, and I feel like the same thing happened that I've been saying for the Mandalorian and Grogu, for Spider-Man, that the hype is so big, and at the end you get a great product, you enjoy it a lot, but it is not at the same level as what the marketing around it was that you get in the end. And I really enjoyed it last night, but I think the right thing would have been to advertise it that, guys, wake up at 3 a.m. You're gonna get a fantastic show. We're gonna also speak with some of the Imagineers, and maybe you get a few announcements. And then I'm perfectly fine with that. And
Yeah.
then that kind of more manages the expectations, because at the end of it, we felt like there was two surprises really in there, or two big announcements, and the rest we've already known it the day before, because we figured out from
Yeah,
from the maquettes, from other panels, etc.
most of the announcements we already knew about.
Yeah.
Is that, and I think that's my issue was with it. It wasn't the show itself. I think the show was phenomenal. I think having it live on Disney Plus, it just screams having it live on Disney Plus as well. I think that worked so well, because the night before it was horrendous trying to get news and get stuff out about what was happening all the time, especially with the internet issues that night. So I think it was the right choice for them to do that. I think what kind of hurt it was the opening a lot of the Imagineering stuff the day before on the floor expo, because I think is it the last one they had where they didn't unveil some of the stuff like the models and stuff like that, like Lion King and stuff. It was all kind of tucked away, and then it came onto the expo for after parks, which I think would have probably have worked, and people probably thought like, oh, I've actually got something, I've got information from this, versus have been like, well, I just saw that and I studied that like the night before. So I think that's probably what harmed it this year. Overall, though, I do think it was, fantastic, and they did really well. I think to do something live like that as well is incredible. Coming from somebody that did do live TV, I know how stressful that is. So, yeah, kudos to them for actually making sure that the stream didn't break as well. I think we have to give them a lot for that.
No, everything. The show elements were absolutely perfect, and I loved seeing Tig Notaro as well. I love Tig anyway. Whatever she does, like, she can't do anything wrong. I don't think so. So it was great to see that the comedy effects, the comedy was there, the variety was there, everything was there. What for me was not there was what we actually wanted to see.
I think I may have been the only one who did this, but I heard about the Horizons event and everyone was like, "Oh, you should go watch it." And I hadn't been on Instagram in a couple days, so I heard Horizons and it's a big panel event, and I crapped my pants because I was like, "Oh, Horizons, it's coming back. They're gonna do it." And then I got in and it was like just about the new rides. And I was like, "This is awesome, but I'm disappointed." So I was
Yeah, I was
like,
wondering why is it
I
called
was like
Horizon?
sad about that name. I feel like that could have
Yeah.
been a little bit nicer because I just feel like baited a little bit. But I agree. Like the announcements they made, like all the park announcements are awesome. And while Disney World's gonna suck to go to for like the next couple of years, it's gonna be awesome to go to in 2028 and 2029. Like it's going to be incredible. Um, there's all sorts of things we didn't cover in this episode, but before we kind of sign off, I did want to see, like we're kind of talking about already, but was there anything that you guys expected to see besides Star Wars that wasn't announced, or something that anything else that you guys didn't like really get out of D23 that you were hoping to see? I know there's a few of us that had certain things they were hoping to see.
I know in Adventure World there's meant to be, I don't know if it's Pixar up theme, some spinny chair ride that they're building at the moment. You can see it. And I thought that would be ready soon, but there's just no information whatsoever. I thought we'd get like an opening season or something.
Really thought we were going to get Space Mountain announced Magic Kingdom after all the chat over the last few weeks.
For me, I thought there was going to be an announcement of the next land for Adventure World. Obviously, there's been rumours of it being Moana, Zootopia, Avatar. So I was hoping we were going to get something, but I mean, it was good enough that we got some DLP news.
One thing that was on my list was, and it's been rumoured for quite a while actually, there's been quite a lot of talk about it recently, is a refurb or a complete redo of the Pirate Galleon in DLP, or the Adventureland part of it. And even though like that is my favourite land, like I hope they wouldn't touch much of it. But if they did and they made it incredible, then I'd be completely fine with that as well. but to not get that, like anything of that announcement, because we had like this theory that we saw like on I can't remember her name, but the lady's jacket, she had like different sequined parts of different characters, and one of them was like a pirate ship wheel. And now obviously it's probably to do with cruises and not to do with that. We were like spinning because we saw that there was the snake as well, and then obviously Indiana Jones had the snake reveal for its park ride. So we were like thinking we're definitely onto something here, looking at her jacket all the time. But yeah, we didn't get that pirate galleon, which kind of sucks because it needs to open. They need to give it some love.
I feel like that's just going to fall into further disrepair.
It like every time I look at it, because I'll go and visit it. It's one of those things I do when I'm in the park, and every time I see it, you can see underneath like it's completely rotten underneath. Because sometimes like they'll drain a lot of the water from it, and you can see underneath, and it's like basically like I think if we had a storm bad in Paris, then I'd really fear for it.
No, I just wanted to say the one thing I really wanted to be announced but wasn't was the Shanghai second park. Like I was really banking on that being announced already. Again, it could come at D23 Asia, but that was the one I was like, they're probably gonna do it now, and then they did not. So, yeah.
For me, that is really far-fetched, but like I'm always hopeful for a second gate in Hong Kong because the potential is there in the contract, and the entire what is strange for me in Hong Kong is that there's basically no water rights and no lake. There's obviously Jungle River Cruise, but pirates are not there. That could be a big thing, and the whole park is on an island, so there's a lot of water around it. So the logical thing for me would be is to have something very similar, a second gate similar to Tokyo Disney Sea, which in the original contract, obviously, it says that there's a potential for a second gate. And in 2020, the developers or the management of Hong Kong Disney were offered the opportunity, but they turned it down because obviously the park was not bringing in the numbers that they wanted to. However, lately there's been so much investment in that park, and it's getting more and more popular. So I'm kind of I didn't think that it was going to happen at this D23, but I'm hoping that in the next few years along the line, there's going to be something. Because again, going back to refurbishing the Disneyland, the Hong Kong Disneyland hotel, I was just thinking, why would they do that when it's a perfectly fine hotel that needs absolutely no work? Unless they're trying to build capacity there in preparation for a second gate announcement, but it didn't happen. So I'm kind of hoping for that, and I was hoping that they would do something with Tarzan's treehouse, but there was nothing about that
been
either.
sitting empty for like I don't even know how long. Like it has to have been closed since the pandemic at that point.
Yeah, and the thing is that it's been refurbed recently. It's been redone. So I'm kind of like, why did you get it redone if there's no plans with it?
And also, no Wonders of Life announcement.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. What is happening with that building? I was very shocked to see that nothing's been announced for that yet. No Play Pavilion updates or anything. Just took the flag down. Nothing. I think it's just going to come to the ground. I really do. I think they're just going to bring it and flatten it, which is sad. I'm sad to see a little bit of history die, even what's left of it. Jonathan, did you have any predictions or anything, not predictions, but things that you didn't hear but that you wanted to?
I don't think so, because a lot of what I was predicting ended up being announced and just added.
I see.
And I think, yeah, the models kind of took away a lot of what the panel should have been. Unless they'd flipped the entertainment and parks panels around, I think we would have been much better in general. But the only big thing was a fifth park for Disney World was getting toyed all around the internet.
Yeah, I remember that rumor floating around. I think mine, I'm always bracing myself for Grizzly to be announced to be something else, even though it does have a good e-ticket. Like, Steven, you brought that up, and that's a good point. It's got a couple. But I'm always just like, hey, it's this one. I'm going to lose it this time. I was sad that nothing happened with Wonders of Life. I was also this was just a hope that they would announce another country for World Showcase or something to add to World Showcase, maybe something for the UK, maybe I don't know. I was hoping to see something, and there was nothing, which is fine. World Showcase is fine, but I was hoping to see an addition there. So, not my wish did not come true either. Sad, sad, sad. Although many billions of dollars of other wishes did come true, so I'll take that.
Yeah, it's interesting. We always have these high expectations. I was just thinking about that, but as a matter of fact, like there's so much development going on at the moment, as it is. Like in Walt Disney World as well, there's something in every single park that is being developed. There's something in every single Asian park being developed, and there are major stuff going on there. Obviously, Paris has got things, so we can't really complain about development because development is actually happening. It's just I think Disney company needs to start managing the expectations a little bit better, saying like, hey guys, we are doing quite a lot, so why don't you just chill and sit back for 5 minutes and we get back to this in 2 years' time. Until then, enjoy Gloria Gaynor. I think that
Right.
I think that would be the right approach because we can't really complain about anything because we're getting a lot, to be fair,
I
for
mean,
what's going on.
like 15 years ago, two of these things would have been big news. Like new
Yeah.
indie ride in Animal Kingdom would have been the thing that everyone talked about for months. And now there's 3 rides going in there, along with every park. Like I think almost every single park is going to be under construction in the next few years. And unless Disneyland starts their Tomorrowland one soon, it might be the only one that isn't until they start that Tomorrowland update, which is fascinating to me. But it's a really good time to be a Disney Parks fan because like before, like we're seeing a big shift here from these old parks with some older rundown attractions or like original things that have been there for so long to new shiny things, new IPs going in, more like relatable rides and new movies coming into the parks. Like there's so many things being represented here and there's so many things going in. And you're so right, Laszlo, like this is just such a good time. Like there's so much happening. We only covered the parks and we could have spent another 2 hours on movies. You know, like they announced so many movies, just like
Oh yeah, there
countless
was
amounts.
loads on the movies.
Yeah, and we only talked about like 3 of them. You know, like just an insane amount of things announced. So honestly, like I think something I took away while I was taking notes about this episode is like I really am excited for the future of the parks and about the company, but really about the parks. Like I've been nervous as things have been ripped out and redone and announced. But honestly, as I see the vision now and I see them lay it out, I'm like, okay, this is actually going to be awesome. Like, I'm going to miss Dinosaur and I'm going to miss Tom Sawyer Island. But, you know, I'm really stoked to see that new Cars ride and I'm really stoked to see that indie ride come in. So I'm not a huge change guy, but this is a good time. So you should check it out if you're not checking it out, everybody. It's a good time. I'm excited
You're
for
gonna
Paris, Space Mountain coming back. That's my big thing. I'm stoked about that. I'm excited. That's my thing. Sophie, what's your thing that you're excited for?
I'm most excited for Villains Land. Being the Villains fan that I am, that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Hannah and Laszlo, what about you?
I'm excited about Figment.
Yeah.
Figment and the Dreamfinder. I think that's for me. That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
I'm excited for Monstropolis.
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Sarah, what about you?
Mm. I'm excited for Lion King. I think
Mm.
just that whole land is gonna bring something new.
Yeah, that's a very exciting thing. I'm excited for that. That's a totally new idea. Olivia, do you have an exciting thing?
It's very hard to narrow it down to one, but I'm going to have to say Dreamfinder and Figment.
Yes.
Very excited for that. Probably because that was the most I screamed throughout the whole evening. But yeah.
Yeah.
Dean, what about you?
Villains Land and the goat carts. I just want a plush or a figurine of one of those goat carts from Cars Land. They look adorable.
Yeah, they do look
Yeah.
great. The marketing and the characters they're designing for that land look so good. Jonathan, what about you? What are you most stoked about?
Piston Pigs.
yeah, I'd say that's a close second for me. It looks so good. And Steven, last but not least, what are you just so excited about?
Paris Space Mountain. I think that's the most exciting thing that was announced. 100%.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, everyone, this has been a jam-packed episode. We have just absolutely crammed in this 2 hours, and there's just so much more to talk about. Big thank you to Olivia for doing all of our editing. She worked so hard, so we're so grateful for her for working so hard for Debate. And thank you, Dean, as well, for keeping us all updated on everything that was going on. Jonathan, as well. I saw your text come in like every few minutes. This is happening and this is happening. Thank you so much. But everyone, thank you so much for being here today. We so appreciate you giving us your time this evening and talking about these things that we all love so much. Thanks for bringing your thoughts and your opinions and your educations and all the good things. But that is, all of this is yet to come. We'll see where we are in a few months. We'll see what's happening. We'll see what actually has foundations. But until then, thank you so much for watching Debate and have a wonderful night. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye.